I'm Detective X. Today we're going to investigate a mysterious death in Fukushima, Japan. I'm sure you've heard of the notorious 311 earthquake that shook Fukushima in March 2011 that resulted in serious nuclear leaks from the plant there. Today we're looking at a bizarre case, not about the nuclear leaks but a mysterious death in a toilet, or to be exact, a septic tank. Around 6 in the evening on 1989 February 28, in Miyakoji village, Tamura district, a 23-year-old elementary school teacher just ended her day. It was winter and the weather was piercingly cold. The street was already dark. The teacher briskly walked back to her dormitory not far away from the school. She stayed in a single room and has an attached toilet in each room. The building back then was not well developed, especially in a mountain village. The toilet was a squatting toilet. Right underneath the squat pan was the septic tank. The septic tank was an U-shaped pipe where one end is linked to the squatting pan, and the other is the sewage outlet. The sewage outlet was located outdoors. Every once in a while, someone would manually open the lid and empty the septic tank. That night when using the toilet, the teacher casually looked into the pit and noticed a shoe. She was perturbed and ran outside to open the septic lid. To the shock of her life, she saw a human leg in the waste. Startled, she screamed and ran to call her principal and colleagues. One of her colleagues informed the police. Soon everyone arrived at her place. They could see the human leg. So some of them reached down to the leg and tried pulling the body out. But the body was stuck in the U-shaped pipe. Well, the stench was also too much to bear. After much attempt to no avail, the firefighter was called to help. The firefighter used an excavator to lift the entire pipe from the ground up, and used a cutting machine to cut it up. By now, the person stuck inside was already dead. The body was bent up with hands crossed over his chest, hugging a neatly folded shirt. He was lying on his back with face looking up into the toilet pan hole. It's sort of like peeping a woman going to the toilet. He was topless and barefoot. The body was thoroughly cleaned twice before the autopsy could be performed. Soon after the cleaning, the man was identified. He was Naoyuki Kano, a 26-year-old young promising man well known in the village. Naoyuki had been missing on February 24 and found dead on the 28th in a septic pipe of the female teacher's dormitory. According to the forensics, Naoyuki was believed to have died on the 26th. Other than some minor scratches on the elbow and knee, there was no noticeable trauma and signs of homicide. Police concluded and closed the case as an accidental death, which is Naoyuki Kano was trying to peep women and died from hypothermia. Naoyuki's father and the villagers were outraged by such conclusion. Simply because everyone knew Naoyuki. Naoyuki was best known as a reliable and sociable person, a sales manager of a company supporting the nuclear power plants. He played guitar and baseball. He could even write songs and poems. He was articulative, sociable and participated in many events in the village. That's why the villagers knew him well enough to know that it is totally impossible to associate him as a perverted voyeur. There were clearly too many suspicions that don't add up. So the villagers organized a petition and called for people in the neighboring village to sign as well. 4,300 signatures were collected 1 month later. The village had a population of 3,800 people then. The final number of signatures collected was more than the total number of people in the village. So, what was the uproar about? Let's go back to 1989. The septic pipe has a symmetrical design and a diameter of 14 inches. One end was located outdoors while the other was the toilet. The indoor toilet was installed with a squatting pan with an opening of only 8 inches. So one can only enter through the outdoor opening. The height of Naoyuki was 5 feet 7 inches. According to the data released by Japanese Ministry of Economy, Trade and Industry, the average shoulder width of man between 25 and 29 years old in Japan is 16 inches. The diameter of the septic opening was only 14 inches. Therefore, it's impossible to get inside the pipe by himself and achieve the posture he was found in. Later, Naoyuki's father used the cut-up pipe to reenact the crime scene. He realized that, with or without clothing, there's no way to get in the pipe. Well, Assuming that Naoyuki was really desperate to peep the women, how would he not know that it was impossible to get in the pipe, much less to come out unscathed? Also, who in their right mind would want to get in a septic pipe and submerge in feces? Who could even sustain that long, in such reeking putrid stench? Given the size of the pipe, whether being forced in or getting in on his own, it is downright undoable beyond reasonable doubt. However, Naoyuki was found with only minor scratches on the elbow and knee. No other traumatic injuries were found. The cause of death was hypothermia. How in the world did he get into the tank unscathed? In February, it was still freezingly cold in Fukushima. It's even colder in a wet and sludgy septic pipe. Moreover, the snow was 8-inch thick on the day of Naoyuki's death. Not only was Naoyuki found topless in such cold weather, what was even more peculiar was that he was holding his clothes in his arms. Let's just give the benefit of doubt that he was truly desperate to peep, but it's simply not possible to even see a thing under the dim light. Naoyuki was found barefoot. Police searched through the septic pipe and found only one shoe. This shoe was later confirmed to belong to Naoyuki. The shoe was found near the head position, which was where the teacher saw at the beginning. There was only one shoe on the scene. The police managed to find another shoe on the riverbed, which was quite a distance away from the crime scene. Why did these two shoes appear in different places so far apart? Some suspected the teacher might have killed Naoyuki. The toilet at night was poorly lit and the pit was deep. How could she possibly have spotted the shoe? Also, the moment she saw the shoe, instead of calling help, she opened the septic lid on her own, which is unusually brave for a young woman. Could it be that the teacher had murdered Naoyuki and framed it as an accidental death? You see, Naoyuki became acquainted with the teacher through her boyfriend. They knew each other well. Once the teacher had had some phone harassments, Naoyuki and the boyfriend helped record the calls and handed the tape to the police. Naoyuki even assisted in the investigation of the phone harassment. From here, it is clear that Naoyuki had a close and good relationship with the teacher and her boyfriend. They actually knew each other's schedule rather well. So in the end, such speculation couldn't be substantiated by any motives nor concrete evidence. Naoyuki's body was found on February 28 and he was believed to have died on the 26th. The last person saw him was his father. According to his father, on the 24th around 10 in the morning, while he's watching TV in the living room, Naoyuki told him that he was going out to run errands. Since then, no one had seen him. So where did he go after missing for 2 days? February 24th happened to be the funeral of Japan Emperor Showa. So those few days were Japan's National Memorial Day and everyone's on vacation. The teacher had taken leave from February 24th to 27th, and went back hometown. During this period of time, she's not in the dormitory and Naoyuki knew about her leave as well. Most probably he might have been in the tank already from the 24th. The date of death was the 26th. He knew the teacher would come back on the 28th. There is no reason why he would brace the cold weather without food and water by getting into the pipe 2 days in advance, just to peep at her. Obviously such inference is too far-fetched. Police found Naoyuki's car near the crime scene. The car was parked in the lot near the dorm. The car key was plugged in the keyhole and the door wasn't locked. It seemed like Naoyuki didn't plan to park there for long, more like a quick stopover. A month before Naoyuki's death, there was an incident in Fukushima Daiichi nuclear power plant. A welded joint in a circulating pump of reactor number 3 gave way, causing a massive amount of metal fragments leakage. Eventually, the reactor number 3 was shut down. The person in charge of this reactor was a colleague of Naoyuki. He committed suicide soon after. Could there be some sort of connection between this incident and Naoyuki's death? 10 days before Naoyuki's death, there was a vigorous election of the village chief. Naoyuki was asked to lobby for one of the candidates because of his outstanding eloquence. Back then, There were two camps of thought towards nuclear plants: supporters and opposers. Supporters think that nuclear plants can create jobs and stimulate the local economy. Opposers are concerned of the harmful effects it would bring about. The two parties fought hard and sought resolution from the village chief, who kind of held certain weight in determining whether the nuclear plant could stay put or not. Rumor has it that Naoyuki might have unwittingly stumbled on the shady politics in the election. Judging from the timeline and the motive for the crime, it is too coincidental that Naoyuki's death took place right after the election. Despite the many suspicions that don't add up, the police did not accede to the petition because there was no evidence of homicide. The case was concluded as an accidental death from hypothermia. 30 years have passed. The mystery remains unsolved. What do you think? Is this a simple voyeuristic accident? Or a premeditated homicide? If you enjoy my story, please consider supporting me in the Patreon. Link is in the description. Your support will go a long way in helping the channel to continuously produce quality content. I'm Detective X. See you in the next video.